in our offensive category is the power sweep, as we call it. Actual number of that play is 49, and the reciprocal of that is 28. 49, 28. It's the power sweep. Actually, it's the lead play in our offense.
Hey, welcome back to Packers Playbook. I am Dusty. With me, as always, is 97.3 The Game's John Kuhn. John, I'm not going to tell the people what you texted me when we were talking about this film initially. Some of the words that were used, probably by both of us. It was not a pretty game, but we're back. We're going to look at 4 plays today. We're going to kick it off with the A.J. Dillon 11-yard run. We'll start off with something good. John, how are you? What were your impressions, overall impressions from the game after getting a chance to rewatch some of this?
You know, watching the game from the sideline, I felt like there was very little flow, and I didn't quite grasp exactly what was going on throughout the game while I was on the sideline. It wasn't until I started watching the film that I realized the man Max Crosby was all over this tape. He was a real thorn for the Packers in this game, and that, coupled with a couple errant decisions and throws out of Jordan Love, is what ultimately ended in the Packers' loss. So let's take a look at some of the good and some of the not so good.
All right, man. So we'll do kind of what we did last week with the run plays. We'll run through this first one just on the wide view, and then we'll get in tight for this run play here. But this is, I think the longest run of the day from A.J. Dillon, 11 personnel, 2nd and 4, early-ish in the third. We got this little wide zone look, nice little cutback. Tucker Kraft coming across, not the prettiest thing, but tracks Crosby and kind of kicks him out there. Does a nice job, I think, on Crosby with him trying to get around there. So, John, what do you got on this one?
So simple. Matt LaFleur staple, outside zone, split flow. And we saw some problems with the split flow last week against Detroit, and we had some problems with the split flow this week with Max Crosby being able to destroy it. This play specifically was ran out of the dot. That's when the halfback's about 7-8 yards behind the quarterback there. And I think that's a little bit easier to run the split flow out of in this offense versus in the gun with the quarterback to your side. Max Crosby made that almost impossible for the Packers in this game. Yeah. Here they chose to do it out of the dot. And it caught Max Crosby by surprise, and I think that helped out Tucker Kraft's block, and because of that, A.J. Dillon was able to read this. Now, if you look right at the snap of the football, the safety flies down into the box, and A.J. Dillon makes a really nice read and cuts this one back away from an unblocked defender and back to where he finds ultimate daylight.
Yeah, and you get Tom kind of kicking out the edge there, looking for work again. The my favorite is Kraft. As always happens, I think the negative usually will get a little more press, get a little more run than the positive. Kraft had one, I think, a little earlier, a little later, where he did the same thing and missed Crosby. If you got right there, he's got him lined up, does the dive, does just enough to take him out, and then a really nice cutback from Dillon there. Question for you on this, John, because this is one of the things. They cannot generate explosives from the run game. And part of that's with no Aaron Jones or anything like that. There's no one. You've got the safety here. Is there anything you can do to climb up to take that? You've got a lot of guys here. They've had a hard time getting off blocks, and it's wide zone, so they're all moving that way. But is there anything that can be done that you can kind of block downfield to try to get this maybe going a little more in the future?
Yeah, most of that is I could have pulled out some other plays where they missed on those opportunities. Here, Jaden Reed's doing a right read. He doesn't have that until that safety rotates down in the box. Unfortunately, he rotates down inside. Jaden Reed, you'd like to see him go in there and get the safety on the inside there. Yeah. And done that, A.J. Dillon could have stayed play side here. And if A.J. Dillon goes play side, look at that hole. That's a hole too, with some room to run. But A.J. made the right cut here, made the right read with Jaden Reed not being able to get into the safety. On the backside, it's very difficult to get up to number 3. Wide receivers on the backside generally in Matt LaFleur's offense, you'll see them run off routes or some version of an out or a fly in order to just kind of occupy their man. And for here, A.J. Dillon gets up on the safety, and I bet he really would like to be able to make that move again and try and beat that safety and get into the end zone. But nonetheless, that was the best run of the game for the Green Bay Packers. So something that they should hang their hat on.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just a little bar to clear, but this was certainly one when I was watching it live, maybe sit up and go, oh, okay. That was a nice looking run. It's been a bit since we've seen something like that. That was kind of nice. John, anything else on this one? You want to move on to the next one?
Let's move on.
All right, next one, we've got this incomplete deep to Christian Watson. Men on either side of him. You got the safety away, 12 personnel, 2nd and 7. You got Watson right there running, just splitting 2 guys. Looks to slow down a little, I'd say. I don't know. That's just my read on it or not. Ball, I mean, pretty decent ball, I think there. I think it hits him in the hands, if I'm not mistaken. John, what are we looking at on this one?
So take notice on the back end of this play. You have double coverage inside out brackets by the safeties and the corners, both down on the bottom and both up at top with Christian Watson. And they ran this coverage quite a few times. In fact, you'll see this coverage again a little bit later. And with this coverage, they're trying to bait the wide receiver to make a move underneath so that they have leverage on either side. Christian Watson's one of those exceptional athletes where if they don't get their backs turned, if they're not in bail technique, he can run right past them. And he does just that. I think this is Jordan's one of his best balls of the game, one of his best of the game. To this point in time, he hadn't connected really in stride with any of the receivers to this point in time. He even had an interception where he didn't see the linebacker in this game. So at about this point in time, this is Jordan Love trying to make a play, and he does everything he can and puts the ball right on the money. Christian Watson on this one needs to continue running when he turns looking for the ball. In fact, probably turning it into an extra gear. You see how he kind of slows down a little. It'd be nice if he could keep his pace and stay on that line versus falling away from the football, because this is a big point in the game. This is a big ball that Jordan Love throws right here. And if this thing gets converted, that whole ball game could have been flipped.
Yeah, and I mean, this is, it goes incomplete. Watson looks like he slows a little, and you can see from the back, I mean, this is just the talent you can see from Jordan Love out of that arm. Like that's easy. Like he steps into that, but he chucks that sucker down the field. It just looks so easy. So at some point it seems like he will hit on one of those. Like, I mean, like you said, I don't know how you felt on this, John. I was watching this game. You mentioned it kind of felt a little disjointed. I felt a little better about it after the rewatch. I thought this was his best day throwing deep. The numbers were not there, but I thought for the most part he was making pretty good decisions and had some pretty good balls. They just didn't come down with them for the most part. Yeah, and this was one of them right here.
I'll say this: this Green Bay Packer team is so young. This offense is so young, and this is a play where you get a great call, you get a great play fake, you get great blocking by the offensive line. And you got Christian Watson, who is your gazelle, running right past the secondary. Jordan Love puts the ball where it needs to be. This one needs to be completed. This is one that the Packers, I believe, are going to start hitting on. And when that happens, defenses are going to have to play them more honest. And it's going to open everything up even in the run game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything else on this, John? You want to hit the next one?
Let's hit the next one, because I think the next one's very important. So that was 2nd and 7. The immediate next play, Jordan Love just threw a ball right on the money, a 60-yard pass that should have been completed, flipped the script on the Raiders, Packers with the potential to take the lead. Here he is, the very next play, 3rd and 7. And this is enormous for me in a young quarterback to be able to flush the last play where he did everything right and did not come down with the big play, and yet is able to turn the page into 3rd and 7 and throw an absolute dart to Dontavian Wicks here on an out route with Marcus Peters trying to sit on the route.
Yeah, that's on time. He puts that out. I mean, that's he's looking middle, right? So he's reading, hits that back foot, and there's no hesitation on there. Just comes out, fires to the sideline exactly where you need to put it. Peters is playing off, but like you said, right there, he's looking to drive on it, right? Just that's a very nice ball. Is that just, they said, I mean, that's does that to you? We kind of talked about this last week, I guess, or a couple weeks ago. The mentality of Love, kind of that unflappableness, like it just stays calm in the pocket, makes his read, makes a throw like that after what just happened the last one.
Yeah, to me, as I said, and we'll see one of his negative plays coming up next. But I think what Jordan Love was able to do in this game to show me some things was with the mistakes being there that he has made. He still has the ability to step up immediately. You talk about the type of emotion that goes through you when you miss an opportunity like he did just the play before. We watched that on film. And now to come back and drive this ball to the outside on a cornerback that's sitting in his 3rd coverage. Pretty impressive to me. And he doesn't stare him down. He takes the snap. He stays honest. He hits his third step or his fifth step, and he just chucks that thing right to the outside. To me, that was Jordan Love's best play of the game. That was Jordan Love's most important play of the game, bouncing back from a play that could have been really big and just converting on third down.
Yeah, it's funny. I appreciate you pointing that one out too, because this is one of those that in the grand scheme of things gets lost. He had another one like this as well, where he kind of hesitated against trap coverage and made something happen because he knew the backside wasn't there. But these little 5 to 7 yards, this one a 10-yard gain on 3rd and 7 in the grand scheme of things. Sometimes this will get lost. It's an out route, it's a quick out. Who cares? But like I said, the mentality and him reading it and all that is something that I think in the development of a young quarterback is not something we want to overlook. So I appreciate you pointing this one out. John, we just talked about the good. John, we got one more. You want to go to the next one?
Yeah, we had 2 good plays out of Jordan Love there, and we saw one incomplete, not any fault of his own. This is where Jordan struggled in this game. He had 3 interceptions. One was bad eyes. He didn't see a linebacker. Another was a bad throw, the last throw of the game. It puts a little more air under that, gives Christian Watson a chance to at least go 50-50 with it, hopefully knock the ball down, give your team another chance to make a play at the end. This one was a poor decision. If you look, you'll see that same double coverage that you just saw a few plays ago. This is a little bit later in that exact same drive. The Raiders were choosing, when Packers went into 12 personnel, that they were going to double their receivers, inside-out bracket coverage, and they were going to cover with an underneath umbrella with the tight ends and the running backs. So you have double coverage on both Christian Watson and who is that up top? I think
that's Toure, I think, or Wicks or something. I think that's 13. I think that's 13.
Okay, yeah, I think it's Dontavian Wicks up there. And as you see, when Christian Watson hits the peak of his route, when they're in double coverage like this, the corner is sitting on it. He's waiting for you to make a move so that he can undercut it, and that's exactly what Marcus Peter did. He's a veteran quarterback, a cornerback. He knows exactly what he's doing here, and he was waiting for this. He knew he had help over the top and that he could sit and drive on the football. Jordan Love, when he saw that coverage at the tail end of his drop, he should have gotten away from that, tried to find somebody underneath, maybe to check down to the halfback, or with anything else, bail out of the pocket and try and make something happen with your legs, because this is just not here to Christian Watson, and it turns out to end this drive. You can see there's checkdowns all underneath that they're playing with the umbrella coverage there, and this is because the Las Vegas Raiders were able to generate pressure with 4 guys, most usually Max Crosby in this one, and because of this, they have extra men back deep to try and double up the Packers wide receivers.
So, a question on this one, because this is, we just talked about the poise of your own quarterback. Is this potentially him trying to get a little more back? I mean, the call itself, I can't remember. I think they're down 4 at this point. I can't remember what the score is. There's 9 minutes left in the 4th. It's 2nd and 17. I can't remember the play that preceded this, if that was a sack or if that was the Christian Watson little end around thing or whatever it was. 2nd and 17, trying to get back on schedule. Is this I don't want to check it down because we need to get to like a 3rd and manageable type of thing for him on this? Like, is that the mentality that he may have? Is this maybe a little more experience, a little more patience? Maybe the next time it's like, listen, I'll take the 5 if it's there and I'll worry about the next down when it comes.
Yeah, it's just when you're trying to chip away throughout the course of a game, you can get a little antsy. You can try and pick a little bit too much up on any particular play. And this is just Jordan Love thinking, my arm can beat this cornerback to this spot. Could Christian Watson have stayed a little friendlier, come back to the football a little bit more? Absolutely. But I think Jordan Love, recognizing this cornerback down here sitting on the break, sitting on the route, he should have come off of this, checked it down there. He's got a tight end down here in the flat. He's got a halfbacker ball. He's got his legs. He's got an angle. He could have possibly have run through there. But I think this is the point in the game. You got 10 points. You've played yourself 3 and 3/4 in 5 minutes. We're trying to pick something up here. We're trying to really get moving. And this is one that Jordan Love, unfortunately, should not have thrown.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's a personal thing. I don't love a bunch of like the all curl stuff. This was just 2 curls, just that static. Unless it's perfect, you got guys that can jump out of this stuff. I mean, I say that there was a very big 4th and 8 in 2013 that the all curls I'm totally fine with. If say you've got a flat-footed safety against the Bears in Week 17, you could just have a guy run by them. I'm fine in that situation. For the most part, all curls I'm not a fan of, especially if they've shown that tendency, if they're bracketing that stuff anyway.
Yeah. you have quarters defense, if you have brackets going on, you just can't do it. You got coverage on the outside, and you have nothing stressing the cornerback here to the outside. They're playing umbrella defense, and there's really nowhere to go with the football.
Yeah. All right, John, you got anything else on that one, or you want to get any final thoughts? Get out of here. What do you want to do?
Well, it's the bye week. It's time that they're going to break down a lot of this film. And like you said at the start of this, watching this film at first, it was a struggle. And Matt LaFleur will be in the lab. Matt LaFleur will be trying to figure out how to get this offense going. But I think we've seen a couple things here on this film. The run out of A.J. Dillon, the outside zone that they were able to put there, Jordan Love with the deep ball, and then Jordan Love with an out route there. This Packers team is still learning. They're still very young. But there are signs of what they can continue to do if they get more consistent and start converting a little bit more. So they're going to have to do that. We'll see what they come with after the bye week in Denver.
I will say my last point. I will say this game specifically, it seemed like they targeted outside the numbers in short game more than we've seen him so far this year, and that's something Love has struggled with. I thought his consistency, I thought his accuracy on a lot of that stuff was good as well. I think the execution wasn't there overall on a lot of stuff, but some of that quick game outside the numbers, they looked good and better. I'd say more consistent than we've seen him so far. So I know I certainly believe there's room for hope. So I'm glad to see I'm not alone in some of that as well. So John, appreciate you as always, man. And we will catch you in 2 weeks, I guess.
Sounds good. Yep.
All right. Thanks, man.